Adam Carroll, born October 26, 1982, is a Northern Irish professional racing driver. He last raced in the 2016-17 Formula E season for Jaguar Racing. He has also raced for Team Ireland in A1 Grand Prix, winning the series in 2009. Carroll, who was born in Portadown, Northern Ireland, started his career in 1993 competing in karting events. He continued in karting until 1998. After winning the Elf LA Filiere Scholarship in 1999, he moved on to British Formula Ford, winning the Winter Series and taking third in the festival. He raced in the British Formula Ford competition in 2001, before successfully making the move to British Formula 3B class in 2002 with the Sweeney team. Despite driving year-old cars, Carroll was always an outright frontrunner, and he dominated the class, winning the title with a record points tally. In 2003, Carroll moved up to championship class British Formula 3, but due to lack of finance, he had little stability and finished the year having driven with 3 different teams, 8 podiums in a row with Menu, before competing in part of the Formula 3 Euro Series season, where despite being new to both team, series, track, and tires, he finished in the points in his first race. He also partnered and outperformed future Formula 1 driver Nico Rosberg in an end-of-season event in South Korea. He continued in Formula 3 throughout 2004, finishing as runner-up to Nelson Piquet Jr. before joining the 2005 GP2 series, replacing Hyunari Shimoda at the Supernova Racing team just before the start of the season. Although Carroll's pre-season preparation for GP2 left him at a disadvantage to all the other drivers due to the lateness of his race deal and consequent lack of testing with his new team, he was immediately competitive, briefly challenging for the championship before slipping back as the season progressed due to reliability setbacks and on-track incidents. Despite continually having trouble raising a budget for his racing, he has still managed to outperform drivers who have had funding readily available to them, including 2005 teammate and ex-F1 driver Giorgio Pantano. His undoubted talent caught the eye of Formula 1, and in 2005 he was signed as a test driver for Formula 1 team Bar Honda. For the 2006 GP2 season, he surprised many in choosing to join the racing engineering team when his previous team had a better chance of picking up the title. It soon became clear that due to Carroll's continued lack of sponsorship, the racing engineering deal saved him from having to drop out of top-line motorsport altogether. He has since removed himself from the Honda driver program, sensing a lack of opportunity as Button and Barrichello would be hard to replace. The only real high point of the 2006 season was a pole position, third place, and second place combo at Silverstone. It was clear throughout the season, however, that Carroll's team was not as strong as the majority of the other teams in the series. This was highlighted many times due to car failures that cost him many points throughout the year. As well as this, the car was distinctly slower, and he also had trouble with other drivers hitting him from behind. This, coupled with a driver error while leading race 2 in Hungary, cost Carroll a lot of points that, should he have gained them, he would have been in contention for at least third in the championship. As it was, though, Carroll's 33 points was enough to give him 8th place, equal points with 7th-placed Gian Maria Bruni, with Bruni ahead having scored more wins. Carroll scored all of his team's points, outscoring his old team Supernova Racing. For the start of the 2007 season, Carroll was driving a 2-year-old Audi A4 in the German DTM series for the future COM-TME team. On June 26, it was announced that he would replace Antonio Pizzonia in the FMS GP2 team for the event supporting the French Grand Prix. Carroll won at the Silverstone round of the GP2 series and scored 4 other points to take a total of 13 in one weekend, only his second back in GP2, in a car that had only scored 1 point beforehand. It was announced on July 13 that he had left the DTM due to sponsorship problems, and concentrated on GP2 for the rest of 2007. Carroll also went on to claim victory in the first race at the Hungaroring, despite starting 6th and changing all 4 tires during his mandatory pit stop. The season did not end so well for Carroll, as he scored only 2 points in the last 3 races despite being in contention for much more. However, he did finish in 7th place, ahead of many drivers who, unlike Carroll, had completed the entire season. During this time, Adam had tested the A1 GP car for Ireland, impressing everyone at Silverstone, and so for the second event onwards, Adam signed up to race in A1 GP. His first weekend demonstrated yet again what a talent he was, as he got Ireland's biggest points haul in the history of A1 GP by netting a podium in his first race, and despite starting 18th on the grid due to being blocked in qualifying, 6th in the feature race. Later in the season, he won the Mexico City feature race, Ireland's first win in A1 GP. He also finished on the podium at Brands Hatch, en route to helping Team Ireland finish 6th overall in the championship. Carroll began the 2008 GP2 Series season without a drive, but when Adrian Valles was dropped by FMS International after the first round of the season, he took part in 4 races for his old team. He was then replaced by Marco Asmer. For 2008/2009, Carroll returned to A1 GP and Team Ireland again, leading them to victory for the first time in China. A1 Team Ireland became the 4th A1 Grand Prix champions, after a title battle which went down to the final round in Great Britain. Ireland won with 112 points, all scored by Carroll, and included 5 race victories and 3 fastest laps. Carroll announced in April 2009 that he was approached by 2 F1 teams in negotiation for a driver's seat for 2010. It turned out that the 2 teams were Campos Meta and Manor GP, both of which were new entries for the 2010 season. Carroll said that he could not raise the €4 million needed to sign for Virgin. He was also in line for a drive with Lola, which was also planning to enter the sport in 2010, but the British Marque's entry was turned down. IndyCar Series team Andretti Autosport announced that Carroll was to take part in some races during the second half of the 2010 season. He ultimately competed in the Watkins Glen Grand Prix and the Honda Indy 200, finishing in 16th and 19th places respectively. He scored 26 points in total and finished the season 34th in the Drivers' Championship. On July 2, Carroll made a one-off appearance in the Formula Renault 3.5 Series at the 6th round of the championship, where he finished 4th and 3rd in the 2 races. This was in place of the injured Austrian driver, Walter Grubmuller. He also drove in the Donington round of the Auto GP Series, taking pole and finishing 5th and 2nd in the races. He then returned to GP2 with Supernova Racing for the German round, replacing Luca Filippi. Carroll frequented the series during the 2015-16 season as a potential substitute driver for Mahindra and Team Aguri, neither of which came to fruition. On August 19, 2016, Carroll was listed as one of 4 drivers partaking with Jaguar Racing in the 2016-17 Formula E pre-season test at Donington Park, having tested with the team previously. Carroll was subsequently signed with the team. Key races in bold indicate pole position, races in italics indicate fastest lap. Key races in bold indicate pole position, races in italics indicate fastest lap. Driver did not finish, but was classified as he completed 90% of the winner's race distance. Key races in bold indicate pole position, races in italics indicate fastest lap. Key IndyCar Series team Andretti Autosport announced that Carroll was to take part in some races during the second half of the 2010 season. He ultimately competed in the Watkins Glen Grand Prix and the Honda Indy 200, finishing in 16th and 19th places respectively. He scored 26 points in total and finished the season 34th in the Drivers' Championship. Key races in bold indicate pole position, races in italics indicate fastest lap. Key races in bold indicate pole position, races in italics indicate fastest lap.